Hacha. Hello, Alona. How are you? Nice to see you here. I think you're the first one to join the live. Just gonna wait a little bit until everyone gets the notification to start doing the analysis. But if you're there, you can write, like, let me know how was this past TRECENA for you. Yeah, I see some people complaining that they don't get a notification. Hello, Douglas. Nice to see you here again, buddy. Yeah, I know, like, there are some people who never receive the notification whenever I post do a post in here. I don't know if you received, like, you came from the notification or like you had to get the link on Instagram. I had to set my phone's alarm to. Yeah, it'd be good if the technology would work, to send everyone a reminder whenever I go live in here. But I'm glad you were able to enter. Just gonna wait a little bit because I know everyone, like, sometimes like they wish they got from the beginning. But let me know, how was this Osh-Lahukawuk TRECENA for you? Was it a easy one? Were you guys able to go for this TRECENA in a balanced way, going through the process of transformation? Did you have, like, good ideas for your projects? You can share a little bit of how was your experience. I'd love to hear that. Because sometimes there are some TRECENAs that take, like, the worst of us, like that we kind of, it's like we're kind of like, oh my god, no, why do I have to go through this? But sometimes there are a sequence of TRECENAs that they tend to be a little bit lighter. They have, like, that gives us in that sense that we are just having a break of the hard things that life gives us. And I see sometimes this Osh-Lahukawuk TRECENA being one of these, like this one that we are just arriving right now, the Osh-Lahu-E, the 13 pathfinder, is a TRECENA that tends to be more auspicious, because of the meaning than the others. But it's good to have a break, between hard TRECENAs. So, starting right now, like, with our analysis, as we are just commenting on these aspects of the TRECENA. This TRECENA that is just finishing right now, there was the Osh-Lahukawuk, the 13 sheet lightning TRECENA that we started with Hunker, the one deer. That TRECENA was the one that we started with a new path to obtain balance, so you can accumulate deeper insights, that we can accumulate transparency, so we can communicate things better, or to get insights so you can finalize a process of transformation we were working in the previous TRECENAs. So it was a matter for us to start regaining the balance after the battle we've been through. And Osh-Lahukawuk TRECENA, was more about this, obtaining this spiritual balance, just like this, just getting this light of intuition that could guide us into how we're going to proceed through this process of transformation. As I mentioned in the past analysis, that sometimes life just put us into situations that makes us having to transform, or needs to make us having to change the scenario that we've been working. Of course, sometimes we can choose what kind of transformation we're gonna go. For example, if we're just talking about work, and you'd like to do something different, so then you can choose just changing, just putting changes, so you can add to what you are intending to do. But sometimes, especially with abstract things, like as when I talk about our emotional side, sometimes the shift that we need to transform or we need to change is not that clear. That's why sometimes it's kind of hard to feel the presence of the now. There are some nows that they are not as present. For example, Kawuk is a very, very soft novel. As we talk about just speaking like with transparency, we talk about this inner communication or how we access this deep intuition. But it's something that we can only get into that like once we are in completely balance. So where we can see everything, you know, with our feet on the floor, with our minds in our right place. That's where we can focus for these brighter insights, you know, to arrive. But sometimes what we kind of ended up realizing is more like the balanced state of care rather than the intuition aspect of Kawuk, for example. But the Kawuk is still operating over there, you know, but the balance aspect could be the first thing we notice. Getting used to taking changes, struggles during the... Yeah, this TRECENA, the Kawuk TRECENA sometimes, you know, because of the now can put us into this rough sides of transformation. It's just like in the TRECENA of the 13 that we had like a couple TRECENAs ago, we accumulated like process of that we needed to change, something that we kind of felt incomplete. So something that sometimes put us, you know, to move because we need to do something about it. And the Kawuk TRECENA is where like we need to finalize this process that were accumulated, like something that we couldn't add anything else. So we have this past TRECENA, this where we could find balance in this TRECENA, find like the clear insights, so we can finalize this process, we can make these changes. Maybe if it were something that we chose to do, so maybe we know what else we would like to add or what kind of new changes we would like to bring in this TRECENA. But sometimes it could be something that you caught completely off guard, and now you, for any reason, you have to change. For example, you were exposed, or an idea that you had, like you already extract all the benefits you felt like you could from that situation, or you just felt like the chapter is closed in your life. What now? So now you need to find maybe a new purpose. You need to find a new path for that after the change. So now sometimes it's just to add new meanings to those transformations that are always constant in life. We are constantly having to find different meanings, finding different purposes. And that's what we're going to be seeing in this TRECENA, in this Oxlahu E TRECENA. So this TRECENA, we're going to be talking about this exact thing, finding a meaning for a path that we are walking. As I mentioned, sometimes life just makes us, you know, change everything all of the sudden, and we don't know how to start, we don't know how to proceed, but we still need to continue moving forward. So we're gonna have to go to the process of finding out what is the meaning behind all of that. Sometimes of course, we are the ones responsible for giving a meaning for the stuff we are going through our life. For example, a situation and how we analyze, you know, the circumstances comparing to us, what it represents for us in our life, you know, among the ones that we are around. So we can create classifications to put these experiences like in boxes. But it's going to be something it's going to make sense for us. And that's, of course, you know, that's something that is only going to be referring to us. But it's not going to be making like a lot of difference for the world, for example. But it's only for our experience. So now it's going to be talking about the meaning of life, or the meaning that we give, like the sense that we create for something. Sometimes we cannot find the sense at the beginning when we just start, but sometimes this sense, comes, some moments after. Sometimes we need to find balance. We need to restructure ourselves again to understand what kind of road we are walking. Not just, I don't mean like the physical road, but also the spiritual road we are walking. Something internal that you feel like you're going through. So that's also a realm that is related to the pathfinder, to find a path, how you're going to continue moving to that to find a sense. Because we all know like the only meaning of life is that we are going to die and that we cannot escape that. We are all going to find all this mutual sense. So, and that's what you're going to be seeing in this TRECENA. And so in this TRECENA, we're going to be talking about, finding meaning for things, how we're going to advance. So how we're going to face the new challenges after, whether we fail or something, or we succeed in something, that is always something that is going to be continue, that we need to find a new purpose, a new path, a new meaning. And that's going to be, we're going to be diving deeper into this TRECENA analysis. So this TRECENA, we're going to be starting with Junajpu, one conqueror's son. Coming from the past TRECENA, and depending on how the things went, if you are able to find balance in the past TRECENA, to see things clearer, to touch these deeper insights of Kawuk, to add to the process that would like to bring a transformation, then Junajpu is going to be something that is going to be continue from the previous transformation, that is going to find, now is the time for finding a new battle. Or maybe you already faced a battle that took you out of the darkness, and now you're only in the process of putting the colors on your process. You're finding the glow of your battle, something that you can recognize as the meaning of why you are choosing to walk this path. Now, who is the new start in Junajpu? We're going to be talking about the battle of overcoming darkness. Just like when we speak about this, the seed going to the darkness of the underground and having to fight to become a flower. So we talk about this battle to overcome. Now E will represent the path that this seed has to go through to become a flower. Or if you're just referring to Junajpu as the metaphor of the warrior that needs to go to the battle, he got prepared, but he needs to face the battle. He has the fear, so he needs to conquer all the fear so he can find the glory. In our E, we're going to be talking about the path that this warrior needs to walk in order to achieve this glory. So it's going to be the road that is going to be walking through that. That can represent everything through the training, through the process of you obtaining the courage. So everything you go internal to advance into that. So when we talk about the Junajpu being like this battle, now E, the pathfinder, represent the path to overcome this battle. That's what we're going to be seeing accumulating in this TRECENA. So independent if the past TRECENA was something that you chose, like a change or an insight for change, Junajpu can be the process of adding more glow or bringing the beauty of a project, for example. So now we're just going to be decorating, like the path of that. Now the pathfinder, in the glyphs you can see the head of a skull, depending in many variations of the now glyphs. Of course, the variation of the glyphs changes according to the Maya language that the hieroglyph was reading. But usually now is represented as a skull with putting emphasis in the lower jaw, putting the feet. But you can see it's a decorated skull. Because you talk about like we are born in this path, the shore that we have in our path is that we are going to die. But now we represent on how we are going to express ourselves in this limited time of life that we're going to be having in this experience. So how you're gonna be choosing to express yourself, like how you like to communicate yourself as well, like as your clothing as well, like how you identify. So we'll be talking about finding a sense, like putting the pieces in your body to express what you feel or what is your nature, wanting to talk beyond words. So in other words, you define the meaning. That's why Junajpu, you talk about bringing this beauty, like when you dress up, just to get attention of something, just like the flower when opens up to attract the bees, attract the insects, so they can continue spreading the seeds in nature. So that's one of the aspects that we're going to be covering in this TRECENA. That's if we start in Junajpu, can be the beginning of this glow that we're going to be only decorating along in the TRECENA. But depending on how things went in the past TRECENA, if you're just caught out of balance, you weren't able to move, you started with the reluctancy, and Kawuk made you find trouble with gossips, maybe you were just focused on something that wouldn't make you feel your life is moving forward or your projects are coming to fruition. Kawuk can only direct those gossips, those light off things that only gonna be leaving you more bitter in life, or just make you more reluctant to transform, to make the necessary changes for you to continue on. So then Junajpu will take all those experiences and be the new darkness that you have to face. But maybe this darkness is going to be bigger. And now you have like this whole process again to overcome your insecurities, to find a new meaning from your path. Maybe if you do transformations you didn't choose for your life, now you need to continue on. You may have to find more new meanings for the stuff that you're walking. But remember, as I said, sometimes the meaning doesn't come straight away. It's not about for you to decide what everything is going to be right now, especially when we are talking about abstract stuff, for example, stuff that comes with emotions as well. Sometimes our insecurities are too big for us to overcome this darkness alone. And the more we just stay inside of us, the more melancholy is going to bring, the more frustrated we are going to become with that. So Junajpu represents the beginning of this new battle. It doesn't matter if it's for good changes that we chose or if it's just something that we just got caught up and we have to deal with. Is this new battle. Whether we succeed or we fail, there is always a new battle ahead. And that will represent this Junajpu, is to find a new path for the glory, a new path for glowing. What could also represent, because sometimes the cynicism or the information we got from the past TRECENA can lead us to already become the traitor, the one that is already just made the mind that he cannot face the battle, and he will act like the traitor, or the one that falls in love too much for the ideas or for the stuff that they're doing, that starts just adding like the false glow. There can be some aspects of Junajpu when you are too out of your mind that you see copper as gold, for example. So it's more specifically talking about our self-pride. Sometimes when you start seeing yourself too much, like as a divinity, as the Junajpu, because you had like some good success with your past experiences. But sometimes Junajpu, every time it returns, can show us that we could be wrong, that we could be falling for an illusion, like we were kind of painting ourselves as gold when we are not. So there is always going to be a new battle after either a victory or a failure. So now we are starting with this new battle to overcome darkness. And then from Junajpu, we're going to move to Kib Imosh, to water. Now 2 is now of the retraction, or taking one step back to calculate stuff. So now, if the now 1 is going forward, is trying to find a path, but doesn't have a lot of strength, it needs to go back a little bit to get a little bit of more volume of water before going forward. So it's the moment of the TRECENA where we can calculate or how we're going to achieve the stuff that we are projecting here. And now in Mosh, we speak about the flow. It's a flow of water, it's the injection of force that will make something grow. So it's the injection of force that you give the growth of a plant, will give you like the courage so you can move forward. So to Mosh is to retract, to calculate what is the path that you need to walk, what is the flow of water that you need to pay attention to in this TRECENA. How are you gonna bring the glow of that you want to add into this path? So make sure like you use like the right dosage. Of course, make sure like you don't like daydream too much. One of the things that can be connected with the pathfinder is that it's when we are daydreaming. You know, like when you need to get ideas of what you like to achieve. So sometimes you picture yourself already like as the result of something you like to attract in your life. So you maybe imagine yourself as the rock star, or is the businessman that is successful, or the one who creates something like that. So you're going to daydream about that. In Mosh, we represent the realm of the collective consciousness, is where we can draw our ideas from, but it's the world of the abstract. So the infinite possibilities that we can get the ideas from the others, join with ours, but it can be really messy. You know, it's something that we cannot control. So it's the same thing if you daydream a lot, but you don't do the necessary efforts to materialize, those ideas. So you can be just wasting time in that realm, in the craziness of that. So Keb Mosh will represent this space where you can daydream, to get ideas, to visualize your path, to see if at least first in your mind, in your calculations for your life, if that path makes sense. Of course, we cannot, project all the challenges we are going to be having during this path. We can imagine like maybe like the outcome or the sensation we would like to obtain after walking the path, after being recognized by that, after everybody see the glow that we are putting from Junajpu. So we need to make sure like we make these right calculations. But Mosh has the thing that we can connect with the left hand, saying that the things that we do like with no much precision, it can lead things into madness. So it can be the water that is going to act as a tsunami, is going to destroy everything. Or like when you start misinterpreting the things that you hear, or the things that you learn, because you are really, just fascinated because of the false glow of Junajpu. And now in Mosh, you just take that experience and show maybe more stuff for you to find the false glow on you, or just to enhance that false glow on you, or just give you many extra ideas that don't connect and only you cannot see where that's going to lead. So Mosh is going to be the point of the TRECENA where you can do the calculations. Maybe they dream a little bit, just enough, just to know you're just going to walk the path that apparently makes sense. Or if something didn't connect in the past TRECENA, or you see there was missing lack of efforts for you to get out of a situation, then now you're seeing having to face like a sort of what you can call battle in your life, or face insecurities. Now you can calculate how much strength you need right now to calculate and put yourself back in the track of the path of your life, in the control of things, find the flow, or the right strength for you to make things grow in your life. And moving from Kib Mosh, we go to Oshib Yik, 3 wind. Now 3 is the moment where you already calculated, you already accumulated enough water to go forward, to find another stream of water where you can join and just continue the flow. So we talk about the now that goes forward, and even if necessary goes into divergence to continue finding the path or open a path. And now Yek is the now of the wind, the consciousness of the wind. that we always mention, that is the insufflation of life, is the spirit that gives us life, that fill our air with our lungs with air, that animate us, it makes you continue moving forward. So it's the power of life. So we're gonna be talking about things that can encourage, gives us, that like the extra push to go forward. Like when we get excited about some stuff, we are enthusiastic. We find like that enthusiasm just fills us with courage. If you are talking about facing the battle, to continue progressing in the path, or sheet A is going to be talking about opening the path with the enthusiasm, opening the path with the flow of that energy that's going to pushing you forward. Just like when you feel like you are motivated, you are enthusiastic, you just flow with the things you got to do. So you use like the right few of those emotions inside of you, just to give an extra push. So now 3 in the TRECENA is the first step in the TRECENA where you can just put more emphasis in the things that we are doing. Like you can put give like an extra push for things to walk forward. So can be like the day that you can, after doing the calculations, you can just flow with that. If you feel enthusiastic, don't think too much about it. Just flow doing the stuff that you gotta do. But if you started retracted, depending on how we started things in this TRECENA, it can be the moment in the where we can find ourselves just becoming like too explosive. Because remember, Yek is going to be talking about this all of this flow of emotions that can drive you forward, but can easily explode just like a balloon. So it can be the now that we associated like with the kids' temper tantrum. When they behave when things don't go on their ways, because like they feel like you're just trying to destroy their world of fantasy, because sometimes it's not going to work. So it talks about becoming emotional and acting explosive because of that, the explosiveness of the emotion. And remember that emotions can also play a factor in this TRECENA, on how we can become frustrated if we don't get the stuff that we want in your path. Remember that we always need to recalibrate. Sometimes our crazy ideas won't work. Sometimes we didn't project that very well. So it can be something that can be explosive in that. But at the same time, if we are just right in tune with the stuff that we're gonna do, the path we'd like to walk, is a perfect now to just flow with the stuff you gotta do. Just to do the stuff that that is gonna be pushing you and your projects forward, going somewhere. There's gonna be something that is gonna be more likely to give you a meaning of something, especially because it fills you with enthusiasm, fills with good emotions that you're gonna consider being worth it to fight for. And moving from Oshib Yek 3 wind, we go to Kahib Akabal for clarity. Now 4 is the now of the water that comes into stagnation. Is the water that stops to gain more volume after finding a path. After found a stream of water, it's gonna fall into a pool of water in our well to wait until grow again. So it can be a strategic pause that we do. It can be something that we just completely stop, or we are just slowly moving forward to make sure like we are more grounded. So these are things that we can talk about now for. And now Akabal, we talk about the first rays of sun that starts illuminating what is in the dark. So we're talking about clarifying what is still in the dark for you. If in this TRECENA we are talking about the beginning of fighting a new battle, of overcoming insecurities and finding this new path, Akabal is going to be the moment where you just take like a candlelight to know where you're walking in this darkness, to understand more about the realm. So we're going to be doing more like a research about what's in there in the dark. You're going to be doing your tests, but it's going to be more related to knowledge, things and things related to power, as like about hides stuff, like about just states stuff, to clarify to you, to show you like what is really there in the dark that you need to be aware of. But it's gonna be the now that's gonna be Kahiba Kabal can be the now that can make you become stuck of researching things more or trying to bring too much light. Just like as we are talking decorating stuff in Junajpu, Kahiba Kabal can be like, okay, I want to put some glow, but you start just to adding too much glow. That will be more likely that you can mess up your creation. So we talk about when you are too much trying to perfect something that's not gonna add to anything. So you become stuck because you're just too perfectionist, or you have been trying to perfect something that it doesn't need that perfection. You could just go, and that can be the moment where you may find yourself stuff wanting to finish your stuff or just to bring the best stuff or the perfect scenario that is never gonna come. Akabal it's a very hard consciousness to negotiate with, that likes the perfection no one is able to deliver. So Kahiba Kabal can be a great day for you to stop and start just perfecting some stuff if it's really necessary, or just to gestate a little bit more, maybe not to show the world yet. Maybe it's gonna be good for you to keep still a little bit in the dark, to gestate a little bit more, to see how that's going to behave. Do not trust, that with all your intentions, like what you're seeing. You're just trying to see where everything fits inside a place. That's why you stop. So you make sure like you have like enough room illuminated before you move forward. You have things in order over there. But just be aware to not become like too much stuck with that. Do not enter into this craziness that Akabal, this crazy perfection that Akabal can enter. So it'll be more like to know like what kind of stuff you need to keep for yourself. Sometimes you cannot talk to everyone about your projects. Sometimes they can steal some from you. And Akbal enters to the realm of the power that we can obtain by hiding information. So it's going to be do strategics, stuff that you don't talk, so you can preserve what you're building, and also maybe to deliver something that can, comes as a surprise for the others, that can attract them even more later. And then move from Kahib Akabal for clarity, we're gonna go to Hob Kat, 5 burning into ashes. Now 5 is the now of the water that cannot be contained. That's something that overflows or break the containment. That's something that can break the pool of water that now 4 was talking about. So it's something that you cannot control. It's gonna be the most intense flow of water of the TRECENA. That's why I say is the moment of the TRECENA where everything can go sideways. Because it's like you have like all of this pressure, but it's going to be released somewhere. So if you are following the TRECENA and we are mapping the stuff that you gotta do, the stuff that you gotta calculate, or adding the meetings we would like to have, we are more likely, if something is going to explode, we are more likely to direct that to a certain direction that can work in our favor, so we can flow with. That's why I say now Hob days, now 5, can be those days where you can give 120% of your efforts to make something, progress. If you started too slow in the TRECENA, now 5 can be great days for you to compensate the time you wasted. So you can compensate all of the efforts that you didn't do, because it has a lot of pressure. It doesn't mean that necessarily gonna be all the results right away in the now 5 or even this TRECENA. Remember that everything is connected. Maybe the repercussion of this now 5 will only come 2 TRECENAs ahead, but everything that you do, all the efforts you direct in now 5, of course, is gonna make sense later on. But you need to be aware of how much effort you're putting in that on the more we are able to direct this flow of now 5, the better for the repercussion later on. In now cut, we're going to be talking about the debits, we're going to be talking about the efforts, we talk about the service. Is the sacrifice that we do to sustain something or to give life to the other, when it takes from our energy to feed the others. It can be a project where you just you're working, you're dedicating from your energy into that. It can be a friend that you are helping walking their path. So it can be everything that you take from you to help something else other than you. But this something else can be something that can accumulate dirty on you, can accumulate weight on you. Just like when you're carrying a bag to help the people that you need to walk, you need to help. But we don't have all the tools all the time to help everybody we meet. Many people have different, so it's impossible for us to wanting to carry everything to help everyone. So sometimes, of course, our intentions can be good or wanting to help everyone, but with that noble, sensation of wanting to help, sometimes we can accumulate the weight for ourselves that cannot be good for us. It can make us feel stuck. If in Kahibakabal we got stuck trying to make more ideas or trying to perfect some stuff, that's gonna add a lot of weight for the Naukat. The Naukat needs to be light so it can flow. So Naukat is the day that we need to free our bag so we can walk our path like with less weight, with less pressure into ourselves, to avoid becoming burnout with the tasks that we gotta do. Because sometimes you wanna help that friend and that friend, but you don't find time to help yourself. You don't have time to pay attention to what path you are walking. So that is gonna add a lot of weight for what is gonna accumulate in the Naoe. In Naoe, the pathfinder needs to be light, so you need to walk the path freely. So you are able to serve the others with the stuff that you're doing. Maybe you're going to be showing your project for the others. They're going to be benefiting others as well. So you need to have your bag free, so you are able also to manage to fix the stuff that comes in a way that you cannot foresee. So Hobcat is going to be talking about this overflow of tasks, this overflow of services that walking this path will require, like the meaning behind you doing this stuff. We never do stuff for ourselves. Of course, one thing, okay, but sometimes if we're joining a project, it's because we want other people just to see that, or just to get a benefit from that, or just to cross that somehow. So Hobcat is going to be talking about like how many stuff we got ourselves into. So we need to make sure of the path we are walking. We need to walk there, in a clear way, so we do not, get too much weight to continue walking, or just to stop us to achieving or to getting to the meaning. And then from Hobcat 5. Burning to ashes, we go to Wakib Khan, 6 stellar serpent. Now 6 is a now of the heart of the TRECENA, where we put things into perspective. Is a now that we can associate a lot with the now. It looks a lot like the now E, because now E is also the now where you can ponder stuff, you can put things into perspective. But now 6 doesn't make a decision. It's only about the act of putting things into perspective. So after we overflow with the water in 5, we got like the repercussion that makes us ponder about stuff. If I go that way, things can turn out, just becoming like this and this and this. And maybe if I go that way, things can go from this and from this and from this. So it's about for you to putting all of the perspectives that you need, so you can consider what's going to be the best route for you to walk. In now Khan, we talk about the intervention. Is an owl that talks about the intervention in nature. Or it's going to be announcing changes, what are gonna be, what you need to be conscious about that. Or paying attention can be like an enemy coming into your way. So you need to ponder it, or maybe that path you're gonna be seeing so many snakes. You need to be careful. So it's your choice. But maybe you can do an intervention so you can walk an easier path for you, so you can have like less obstacles in the way. So it's about pondering where this stuff are going. So if you see you're dedicating yourself too much for the others, now can you show that you're heavy because of that? You're not managing time correctly. You're not managing your energy correctly. That's why you just get constantly getting frustrated with your path, not being able to overcome the battle. We start talking about in Junajpu. So Wakib Khan is going to be talking about pondering these interventions that they're going to be likely to make in this TRECENA. Or sometimes when you need to advance, but to advance you need to go backwards. That's one of the things that now E talks about. You need to continue moving forward, but even if moving forward, it talks about you have to walk backwards to take another turn to see if things is going to work. So 6 Khan is going to be about just to be aware of the stuff that will make you change your path, or to be aware of the stuff that can act as an enemy or can poison your path. If you did not do a good calculation into Imosh, like the water was dirty, so can act as a poison for your path. So you need to be aware of this stuff. And moving from Wakib Khan, we go to Ukub Kame, 7 ancestors or 7 death. That's where we talk about, it's going to be the climax of the TRECENA. I see some of you not understanding when I mention about 7 being the climax of the TRECENA, or the hottest part, because we associate that with the hot water, like the hot springs, the hot geyser, or the lava. In the TRECENA, it represents is the moment where we find out like that everything from that is only going to accumulate. You already know where things are tending to walk. So what you're gonna see from here is only these things just only becoming bigger and bigger until you get like the biggest image, which is the 13 pathfinder. But you already know like what is the process of the battle you started in Junajpu. So you already know what kind of direction it is taking according to the efforts you've been putting on. How you're choosing to deal with the stuff, like emotionally, or the practical stuff that you'll be dealing with. You already know like what's gonna grow from that. So it's only a matter of time until you see that growing even bigger. So that's why we see like, that's where we see like that, where is the moment of the TRECENA where we know how hot things can be. Because that is the stuff that is kind of hard for us to absorb in the Maya calendar, especially coming from our Western cultures, that is about the way we observe time. We live the day by day, one day at a time, in a linear path. Go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. But every single effort we do in a day is going to have a deeper repercussion in the future. Also, the effort that we did today is because something put us to being here. So everything is connected. So there is no such a thing as future and the past and the present. So they are all connected. So if you start working on a project, there will be a certain period where like where the efforts you've been putting on tend to arrive. So it's only a matter for you to continue work to grow your business, to grow your personal project, or whatever. But they just continue something that you did previously. So everything is going to be connected. So the 7 is going to represent something that is already built in the future, but it did not see yet. So everything that we are doing right now has already like a destination where it's going to arrive that can represent this big meaning of your path. Maybe you cannot see that yet because the path is not that big yet. But after you do some efforts, you realize that it was already, destined to go into that. But sometimes you cannot see. But when you arrived there, we saw that it was just a repercussion. So that's the thing of the 7. You already know where it's going. It's just a matter to become bigger. So we see where everything is leading to in the TRECENA. So in Kame, we talk about the ancestors. We talk about the now of the death, of dying. As I mentioned, what is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is that we all going to die. So it's only a matter for us just to feel our life giving the meaning that we want from it. Like the life has no meaning, we give the meaning. Sometimes the meaning of our life is just to find out who we are, like how we want to express in this world and live our story into the breezes of the wind. That's how we address the ancestors, the spirit of the ancestors that join the breezes of the wind, the singing of the birds. That's the thing that we associate with the ancestors, like this ancestral realm that we walk in here, that you can breathe, you can ask the support of them. Sometimes, or the meaning of our path is just to connect, to get orientation, guidance from the ancestors, to know where we should walk or how we should proceed into something. So Ukub Kamei is going to be talking about, the process of finding a way to walk with life, getting being more conscious about our emotional stuff, something that can makes us frustrated because something is not working, or because you're not chose to face the battle, to make the effort of getting out of our inner darkness. And we can talk about like the support you get from people around you to walk this path. Remember that the realm that Kamekin represents, that now is just like when someone supports you or someone wishes you well. Like those people like that, you just wishing nothing but good in their path, like you are happy when they succeed about something, but you're not all the time talking to them, but there is something on you that's just wish them well. So you feel like that's a soft push because you feel you are with them. That's kind of this soft realm of Kame, life of wanting to support or having someone to wish well, pushing you gently forward to achieve this stuff. So Ukub Kame is going to be talking about getting the support to overcome this darkness of this battle can bring, and for you, and to help you see what is the meaning of your life, or the meanings that you are building for your life, or the purposes you are creating. Even the process of creating new purposes or finding new meanings for your life, you're always going to be needing some support. So that's the realm that Kame is going to be talking about, and that's where everything this TRECENA is leading to. And then from Ukub Kame, we go to Washakip Ker, 8 deer. Now is the point of the TRECENA where we are restarting this stuff. We already know where things are tending to walk, so now we can just go through the process where we're going to make this stuff grow bigger. So in the TRECENA that we started with Junajpu is the beginning of a new battle to overcome insecurities, to glow or to shine. Now we return with Ker, like it's a return with balance, it's a return with the strength. Maybe you didn't have the strength in the beginning of the past TRECENA in Hun Ker, because Hun is just the water of trying to find a balance, it's not a presence, it doesn't have a lot of strength. Now it requires us, 20 days to see that, and now we can do like with more ease. Now it's more easy for us to identify what type of balance, was kind of lacking for us, or to realize that it was lacking balance to achieve something, or to listen to our intuition, or to go through a process of transformation. Now they are just repeating this stuff in this TRECENA is where we can maybe come to realize what we need to do. Or maybe it's going to be the moment where you need to realize you just need to go for a walk in nature, to breathe from that, or just to perform a ceremony in your altar if you feel like you need some spiritual injection. Maybe it could be spiritual the problem. So you're gonna be going talking to a spiritual guide who can do the ceremony for you to come back to balance. That's something that now Kerr is going to be talking about. It's going to be talking about the stability that you need to have to walk through this battle. Maybe when you started in Junajpu, you didn't have stability, so it was kind of hard to walk. But now that you're doing stuff again in the TRECENA, you're going to be having more peace of mind. You're going to be having more sense of balance, more confidence that you can do things in a more grounded way. So Washakip Kerr is going to be talking about this return of the strength. This is strength to overcome the darkness. This is strength to continue in this path, to make the path more solid. So that's what Washakip Kerr is going to be talking about. Of course, depending on how we are dealing with stuff the TRECENA, remember, this is not mystical stuff that is going to be like astrological or like a horoscope that's going to be acting that way. Remember, everything that we do with one owl is going to be passing to the other to continue on. If you are kind of rejecting to face the battle, so Kerr can start again reluctant to, or with resistance to walk this path, or because of the melancholies of the now is going to be, or again just coming back in circles with the same process, with the same attitudes, that is going to be paying you the story of your life. So that's about coming to realize that sometimes you are not moving because of something. Maybe you need to go back and see like what were your fears, what kind of fears you're just keeping coming back in circles. That's kind of make you heavy to move forward. So once you identify that, it's going to be easier for you to go to your altar and try to make your ceremonies, make your procedures to obtain balance again. And then moving from Washakip Kerr, we go to Belaer Knil 9 seed. Now 9, we talk about what is hidden in the TRECENA, what is in the dark, what is running beyond everyone's sight. We refer to the inner rivers, what is gestating there in the code. And now Knil, we talk about the seed, the potential of something to germinate. But the seed is only the potential of something. Of course, it's the potential to something to germinate or to multiplicate or to achieve abundance. We talk about the ripeness, like the process of ripeness. But Knil is only about the potential of something. It's not something that we're going to be getting there. But making more emphasis to this potential of something. The seed needs a complement. Otherwise, it's not going to be, it's not going to be germinating. It needs like the right amount of water. Just a little bit of water maybe won't be enough to germinate the seed, but too much water can rot in the seed. Maybe dirty water or dirty fertilizers can kill the plant. So Knil is going to be talking about how we're going to dose the stuff you're going to be adding to that. Remember in the beginning of the TRECENA, we were in Kib Imosh, into water. There we were talking about calculating the flow that we're going to be needing for the TRECENA. So if this TRECENA we're talking about daydreaming, go to this fantasy world to see if you can get some insights, can picture the idea of the meaning you'd like to bring for a path or something you'd like to achieve. But emotion is going to be that injection of force. You can be going crazy, you can be just misunderstanding or the ideas, or just fantasizing stuff that's not gonna be sustaining here. So depending on the quality of the water that we're extracting in the first part of the TRECENA, we're gonna be injecting here in 9 seed. So if you just inject the right dose in that seed, you're gonna be seeing like the repercussion later on, like in your productivity. Like the better like the efforts, the quality of the water you're going to be injecting, the better the fruits you're going to be getting. For example, when we talk about the pregnancy, because I see many of you ask me, we always talk about this process of the pregnancy, about like when the realm of the mother, that's the mother's experience is going to be shaping the consciousness of the baby, that is going to be, influencing on how the person, that individual, is going to be behaving when it's born. But of course, like how the conception was made, it makes also a difference. For example, if there was a sexual relation where the mother has lots of orgasm, that makes a lot of a difference of how the baby over there is going to be gestating, like the intensity in which it was created. Of course, if it was like a sexual relationship, was just like a routine stuff, or you just were planning to have a baby, wasn't supposed to be nothing special. Everything, as I mentioned, in the calendar, everything is connected. There's nothing can be isolated. So even, there was supposed just to be something just to have a kid, will make a difference on how, like the intensity and how everything were prepared. The same way, if you just choose the best nutrients to feed your plant, the better is going to be, like the intensity, the vitality of that plant. So everything is going to be added at the end. So that's why in canoe you need to make sure like what kind of additives you've been adding to yourself. Because when you talk about canoe, about adding stuff, we can refer to alcohol. Of course, maybe you're just dealing with a lot of pressure. You go there and you get drunk because you need something. Or you just go there and just fool yourself with coffee because you need to be productive. You need to be in the mode of being like awake or being focused. But sometimes every time like the focus of the coffee chemicals can bring breaks, you're gonna be needing another one. So can you represent when you keep repeating, but you're kind of getting like intoxicating yourself. Everything like can be like a medicine, like something that can be a medicine can also act as a drug. It all depends of the dose that you use. So in 9 Canoe, there we reflect of the stuff that we are doing, but you are not paying attention because you are not seeing the exact repercussion in the moment. Maybe it could just be, just getting drunk every day because you feel like you can work better with that, but you're not seeing like the repercussion that's gonna cost you later on, like something that is hidden from your path. Okay, you are just taking these decisions to guide your life, just to deal with your stuff. That's even though you don't see like that, being bad, but it is still adding for the path you are walking. You're just not aware because there is just staying in the dark. So now 9 Canoe is going to be talking about the stuff that we do in the dark that can, put us into intoxication. So it can be sometimes our thoughts in the way that we manage stuff, or when you lose the potential of our productivity. So we're going to be talking about these aspects that are going to be making more difference later on as the time goes. So 9 Canoe is about to do the productivity, sometimes doing like the shadow work that makes a difference when you show everyone the job that you are working. So nobody see like the efforts of the sun when he needs to fight to go to the surface and show its shine. So this is what 9 Canoe is going to be talking about, like the work that are going to be doing in darkness that will add to the result you are getting in your life, in your path of life, in your choices. So then from Belair Canoe, we go to Laur Tor, 10, fire. Now 10 is the now of the convergence, putting things together where everything meets in one single place. We can talk about collaborating with others, doing things with other people, or doing things for the community, where everybody's gonna blend as one, like it's everybody in one single place. And now Thor, we talk about the sacrifices we do to achieve power. we talk about the payments, we talk about the offerings. Used to be the now that was used to make the tributes for the kings. So where we're going to be paying your tributes is related to the blood as something that you have to offer that is the most precious things for you. It's what keeps you alive. So that's the connection of the blood, or when you can work a little bit harder to get something that is going to be important for you. So as we talk about the sacrifices we do for us to achieve power. We're going to be talking about the convergences of the sacrifices. Sometimes the sacrifices is making us feeling sick. Sometimes our sacrifice just to make something for the others. So not something that is properly, for our own enjoyment. Can be for the others. Maybe your sacrifices that we'll be doing to achieve only just to show like your power for the others. So that's where you're going to be convergent in Tantor. You can be maybe paying like for the sacrifices that you've been putting yourself to. You could be like yourself getting sick, but also can be like the moment where you see your sacrifices also worth it. You can picture Tantor as the fire ceremony of the town, like the moments where everybody's gonna be enjoying, like the heat of the fire, like everybody's gonna be like in a party. So you do that big celebration with the fire, like the huge fire. So to show the performance that we've been like practicing since Junajpu, to show your beauty, just like the fire when it's going to show the glow, like that presence that it has. So it's gonna be talking about when you share that with others, like everything that we are doing also cross paths with the others, where they can collaborate that, where they can touch that. So it can be a day where you can ask the help of the others, to help in your personal sacrifices. Can be a now where you can just do a performance for the others to try to see if that's what you really want to. Like if you chose that path, okay, I would like to be the musician, to be the rock star. Like now 10 talk is gonna be when you put into practice, you're gonna make like a gig to see if everyone enjoy like your songs. You're gonna be, if everyone enjoy your performance, you're gonna be putting into tests to see if your efforts like are being worth it in there. Or maybe if you didn't practice enough, so you're gonna be collecting that back, like as you put your pressure, like you test yourself in pressure, can be this now 10 toch. So you can see if it's still worth it to getting this pressure of the people, like if you're able to handle the pressure that people can put into you, so you can sacrifice yourself, where you can overcome, like the judgments of the others according to the things that you're doing. Of course, everybody's going to be, just putting the eyes on us according to something that we do. They expect for us to be acting into what they see that is our nature. But sometimes we are just choosing a path that is kind of hard for us to keep handling that, like it's not going to be worth it. And that can make us sick. So that's something that you can be aware and get as a reminder in Lauchtoch. And then from Lauchtoch, we go to Hulauch Tzi, 11 dog. Now 11 is the moment of the TRECENA where you can spread or dilute something. And now Tzi, we talk about emotions. We talk about emotional confusion. Like it's all those mix of emotions that can lead us to act in so many different ways, like that makes us, feeling doubt about the path we are walking. So 11C is going to be about releasing the emotions, because sometimes we don't know where to progress because these emotions start just, suffocating us. That can lead us to the suffocation in the heart, can lead us to frustration, just like Kame was speaking about. Sometimes if you got stagnant trying to perfection everything because we wanted things to be perfect, so we need to deal like with that false glow. So we accumulate lots of stuff in here. So 11 is going to be the now where you can release. You can, just make some rolls in the plastic bag so where you can breathe a little bit. So it's a day where you can, get rid of this confusion, these doubts, for maybe wanting to follow too many different paths, as 11 can go into multiple directions. So maybe you are emotionally confused because you don't know where to go. If the now A is accumulating for you to find a meaning, find and build a purposes, if you are just too focused wanting to help everyone or to help our friends, like we are not going to be able to find like where you're going, because you're going there and there and there and there and there. So it's going to be too much emotions confused in one single place. So it can be that now where we can release those emotions, so we can get, like be more centered. We can come back to the balance of Washakip Care, to see where you're going, or what's the meaning that we're going through, the meaning that we cannot see because you're just too busy thinking about like what you're sacrificing yourself for other people. So 11C can be a day for you to release this emotion, leave like these emotions that can put you into doubt. It can be a day where you can reach your loyal ones, to ask direction. You can seek for the word's friend to help you calm down a little bit. So that's something that you can do in Hula Urtsi. Remember, when we talk about this emotional confusion in our Tsi, it's just like we talk about the love, like the companionship we have for our friends. But also Tsi is associated with chaos, like the completely destruction. Because when we are like rationally you build yourself, but then like inside of you is a mess, it's a chaos. So you can end up corrupting yourself. That's why now Tsi can be associated like with the judges when they are corrupt, like when you bribe them. So they are supposed to follow the rule, but they are in charge, so they abuse of power. That's why we always refer as the authority that bites, the one that is in the dirt. So that's one of the references that we can talk about now at Tsi, that we connect to Bats. Bats puts things in order, because Tsi represents the chaos and the destruction. So we represent this emotional, this chaos that emotions can bring, and can turn like the world was supposed to be the hero into a villain. Like Junajpu, we make the reference for the hero twins, that they need to overcome like the darkness of the realm of the Shibalba, and then return to the surface. But sometimes, like who was supposed to be the hero can be corrupt by the path and become the villain. Because in the main point, like the main villain would be like how we're gonna be dealing with the emotions and how make that turn in your path. So that's one of the things that we need to be aware in 11C. If we do not relieve the emotions that we are carrying, because now the pathfinder talks about melancholies that we are keeping holding on and not allow us to move forward. So if it's C, you cannot release that can turn against you in a way that you can never imagine. But then you already accept the path that you can become the villain, that you become the frustrated one, that feel like nothing goes right in your life, and all the drama and blah blah blah. Is that because you never took some time to pay attention for these emotions that you need to release? And moving from Hula Urtsi 11 dog, we go to Kablaur Bats 12 howler monkey. Now 12 is the now of the hidden balance of the TRECENA, is the repercussion, what comes as a surprise. Remember that every single effort that we do in any moment of the TRECENA always going to be having repercussions later on. Remember when I spoke about the now 5, that is something that just breaks and you cannot control. 12 comes as something that comes to bring that into balance. If a dam breaks and goes there and destroys the city and makes lots of and kills many people and destroy that, so 12 is going to be on the point that nature is going to be putting things into balance. Remember, the world, the universe is always in balance. No matter how unfair sometimes our circumstance here feels, the world's always in balance. Sometimes when stuff happens, of course, like when we can project our political preferences or personal stuff, when we feel like that is not right according to our life or perceptions. And then when something just come back with something that we feel like it's going to be the right, that's where we can apply this human classification and say, oh, something now, a justice was made, something that feels like was unfair. But that's just nature just coming into balance. It's always that something that nature is always going to keep up to keep things even. And 12 will represent this something that will come like as a surprise. You don't know what life is balancing in your life. Of course, if you see that you got like a huge thing going on, of course, it's going to have a repercussion that's going to try to balance things. So that's the nature of the Nahual 12. And Nahual Bat, as I mentioned, is an owl to put things in order. We refer as the thread or the howler monkey. We talk about the thread of life that can represent time, that can represent the ideas that got connected together. It's just like connecting the dots is the node of work and ideas. If in C we spoke about the chaos, the destruction. Now a bat is where we can restore the order. So we represent these threads where you can see when we are building like a texture. For example, if you are building like a t-shirt, you have all of these threads, interweaving to make this shirt. So 12 bats, you can see like the creation you are getting right now since Junajpu, when we start just bringing that glow that you want to bring in your battle, or something that you just would like to make more beauty in the world. So bats will always make this reference for things that we create. We talk about creativity, we talk about arts and spirituality. It is one of the nows that talks about art. So 12 bats, we're gonna be seeing this repercussion of this stuff that we are creating, but maybe you are not seeing that yet. It comes as a surprise. As I mentioned, sometimes we are started walking a path, but we are like where we're gonna lead, or what is our destination is not clear there yet. This is still in darkness. So, and many times we tend to be arrogant with this for not seeing things right away or all the potential. So 12 bats will express these unexpected creations that life can put us. So it can show you sometimes a big mess when the thread gets entangled, but you couldn't see, like you are just worried about being stuck in your emotional insecurities of the TRECENA, or because you're afraid of being frustrated, or you're just trying to be too much perfectionist. So 12 bats is going to show this repercussion of what you exactly have been creating. And maybe you're going to be having like to act more, or just to give more action to try to compensate before the accumulation of the TRECENA, before accumulating, and there is nothing that you can do about it. So that's why we always refer the 12 as the final moment of the TRECENA to fix. It's like there is the cash out of the TRECENA. So 12 bats will show like the beauty of the stuff you are creating. If things are walking into a brighter path in this TRECENA. It can also show you what is being frustrating you because you cannot continue with that. For example, if you're talking about creating stuff, you can talk about what is blocking you, and that in turning your creation into a big mess. So we show what's coming, as sudden. So it's a day where you can do an extra efforts in order to try to put things in balance again, just to put things in order for you to go back to the right track, to the path you like to walk in your life, to the path or to find to the real meaning behind the stuff that you are doing. And then from Kabla Bats, we go to the final day of the TRECENA, the ruler Oshilahu E13 pathfinder. Now 13 talks about the accumulation, the biggest, what can transcend. And then now E talks about the path of life. It's like is the road where we do our physical trips. It's about the path of the spiritual path. It talks about when you travel just in a story of a book. So it talks about these many different paths that we can walk with. Just as I mentioned before, when we daydream, so we enter into our fantasy world to see how the path is going to divert, to see the possibilities, to see yourself, achieving the position you are dreaming, behind your projects. So it talks about like all these different realms where you like to proceed. But as I mentioned, that can be similar to the now says, where you're going to ponder, you're going to be entering into this realm to get ideas, to get deeper insights. It can be something that needs to make a direction, needs to move forward. Otherwise, it's going to be like the one that cannot move forward because it's afraid of letting go of the past, because of the melancholies. Again, the emotions playing an act. Remember, as I mentioned, like the battle to overcome darkness, for you to find a meaning for your life. Why you're struggling so much, like why you're fighting that hard. It's being added to the story you're writing in your life. No matter if you spend like a day without doing anything, or you just feel like the weeks are like there is something is not progressing, every single effort, like even like the more useless it can be, it always going to be adding into an accumulation. So maybe it could be even like when you were old, you are too old and realize, oh, now I understood life, or I wish I could, have figured out that before, so I could do more with my life. So that's some of the stuff that the Now talks about, like when we get like the melancholy of walking forward, or just to find a new meaning into stuff, or you thought like your life was just stepping into one single meaning or one single purpose because you thought about fate. But Maya calendar is not about fate. We talk about destination or something can get. We can change our directions at any time we want. You can learn new skills. We can do anything that we want. You can build new purposes. And that's what Now will talk about. But we need to be able to keep moving forward. It's not because we succeed in something that's for granted, it's for life, that's going to be holding that title forever. Because we know like everything is going to be dust in the wind. Like everything like will just be in the book of our story that you're going to be joining the bridges of the universe after we transcend to the ancestors realm. So now we're going to be talking about how we're going to project our life, how we're going to be choosing these different roads of finding new meanings. If it's something like it made you feel like everything you try like doesn't have more sense or it doesn't have new meaning, remember that the Now we always talk about there is always something to give new meanings or to find new purposes. Even though like we got frustrated, there is always something where we need to progress, to continue moving in life. So that's going to be talking about Now like how in this TRECENA, it talks about like the meaning we attribute to our life, like what's the meaning behind everything that we are building, like everything that we are walking can make sense for us or making sense for the people around us. But we need to be aware of where we are progressing. And that's how we finish this analysis of the Oshlahu E 13 Pathfinder in this TRECENA. And in the next TRECENA, we're going to be talking about the Oshlahu Kan 13 Stellar Serpent, to talk about the interventions that we need to do after we find this path. And if anyone has questions, now you can send here in the chat. And yeah, I know we already have like 1 hour and 20 here. But this is a very deep TRECENA, like where we talk about, like we ponder a lot about like what we are doing with our life, like We ponder about the fears that we have. We deal with uncertainties. So it's a very, very deep TRECENA, this one, for us to start understanding the rest of the calendar. To make sense. So if you how to navigate 11 dog about the emotional release. Remember that everything is connected in the Maya calendar. So if you are aware, like where you are walking right now, what kind of stuff that you are facing in your life. Of course, we have many, let's call that pillars in your life. We have like our work pillars, like we have like our personal, like with our personal relationships, or have like our healthy stuff, like the things that we eat, how we take care of our health. Everything adds to this emotional stuff. Sometimes when we picture about something, we always be corresponding to in a specific scenario, maybe a partner, or maybe about that. But everything can be adding into this emotional stress that C can bring. C can bring about like when you are doing, for example, you are working a project or you have a job, but this job, it takes a lot from you. Like you see, like many things is extenuating you somehow. It makes you feel burned out. It could be something that you love doing, like it's your passion. Okay, maybe you got like a job where you can draw. Like your passion is to draw something, but you are in an atmosphere where that passion like is maybe killing you, is taking you like away your mental health, the stuff that you're doing. That could be something that will be adding to your confusion. Oh, I love this, but do I love doing this, but that's bringing so much pain. That looks like what like is being, making me be uncertain about my path. So sometimes in 11C would be like for you to analyze like these many different directions where emotions are playing a factor. So it's about for you to like remember in the now 6 scan, where you do about pondering where your path is going, so we can make like a right intervention to avoid that those uncertainties, those things that we are not paying attention, to become like a poison in our path, to become something that can makes us feel more annoyed into that. So that's how 11C comes to play as the release of the TRECENA. Just like like the pressure pen, like where you need to have like something like a hole where you need to release this pressure, otherwise the pressure pen is going to explode. Picture the now 10 as a pressure pen, like as everything is together, is all together, like many people are just paying attention to you or to something that you're doing. 11C is going to be the moment where you need to breathe so you can find the flow. So emotions, especially in this path, we need to release. So in 11C, could be something as simple as talking to a friend, talking to maybe a therapist, someone that can give you like some words of comfort, so you can reposition yourself. You can find again the direction. Like you can, like maybe your emotions are not, for example, for you to be extenuated for doing something that you love, are not connected with the fact that you're doing something that you love. Could be connected to something, maybe someone that you are in your work, or something that cannot be just that. So it's about for you to separate that. Yes, my work has been making me feel that way. Thank you. I'll make sure. Yes, there is always something like that. We need to bear in mind that nothing's going to be perfect. Nothing's going to be walking like exactly according to as we wish. We always wish something. That's why we always choose to find these tools that are going to makes us feel like a better decisions, more conscious decisions. But it's still that we are never able to be able to do conscious enough, or at least for us, for what we would like to bring for us. And of course, there are, especially at work, when we are like we are forced to interact with people like where you have like no control of course, like the many different things. Maybe you could be stressed about your colleagues. Many things can play a factor, but the more you are able to distinguish or where, like the frustration is coming from, because you're walking that path, your work is not, making you feel satisfied with the stuff that you do. Maybe it's not exactly the stuff that you're doing. Maybe it's the atmosphere of where you are. Maybe it could be people that could be corrupting, like the atmosphere that you feel like is what you made to, is what you're now like to express. But it's all about for you to come to realize that, to put, to see where everything comes, what kind of boxes everything is connected. So you release those doubts that now C can talk about. I like to review the video daily, or I seem to lose the balance when I miss meditation times. Things can get sideways. Yeah, sometimes when it's not. It doesn't mean like every time when we meditation is not always going to be like the factor. Sometimes we can meditate and not find peace of mind that easily. We cannot have that reset, because then meditation is great for us to achieve balance whenever we are overthinking too much. You confronted a situation. For example, when now the thoughts can explain. You have an idea, but then you start inflammating with so many different ideas. So you cannot find a way through, or cannot see work, because you have so many stuff already in there. So meditation can work as that reset button, where you can just, like let those, overthought ideas get away. So you can, now you can see clear, what do you need to do? It's more easy to access that. You have more peace of mind, you have more room to think about how to come into a solution. Of course, it's not every day is gonna be the same. Sometimes it's not gonna work. Sometimes like it's not gonna be even meditation. Sometimes you need something that can put you into more dynamics, so you can find that balance. Sometimes it's not just because we are stressed about a situation that you cannot seem to find like a quick solution to that. The meditation is gonna put us into balance. Sometimes what can put us back into balance is for us to making more effort to do that, to go over to the stress, to do that. It's about to listen to what the day is talking about, to see like maybe that meditation could be, you can get the same result, but by simply walking in the forest. There are many different ways, or maybe doing a ceremony in your altar, where you can release that, where you can ponder what is missing from you right now to obtain balance. Like maybe it's not going to be something specific. Maybe it could be, about, just you had a fight with someone maybe like 2 weeks ago, but only right now, like you don't know. That's just putting yourself off balance, because you saw there was something around that, it wasn't well resolved. So there are so many things that can put us out of balance. But one of the things that following the calendar helps is because the more we repeat this process of the life, that with this story, let's just call that stories that the TRECENA can teach us. Let's put it that way. Like the more we become more aware of this process of how what can be a destination of an action that we do, like the easier it becomes for us to start acting already, thinking about of these multiple possibilities that we can end up finding in the future, because you already get used to understand how the process can get stuck and how they can get entangled some days. So that becomes more automatic for us to find a way for things to flow, to recover our balance, to understand like what is our nature is speaking to us. And So that's something that the my account helps a lot, just coming back to the daily, or sometimes even making a journal for you to, because sometimes if we try to rely on our memory, sometimes we tend to maybe sometimes alter the experiences for gives ourselves a placebo, or to change, the facts for us to only to get like, okay, like, yeah, for not be bothered about that anymore. So it's interesting to keep track on these things. And I would like to review, yeah. Clarity comes back fairly soon after I reflect and discern where things went gray. Exactly. Yes. It's all about remembering, like, if we just take into this consideration about the flow of the numbers of the TRECENA, because it's always something, okay, we would like to initiate something, like now 1. But then, like after we initiate, maybe we need to ponder. I'm not saying like that we need to follow the TRECENAs, like we cannot, especially nowadays, like with this digital world that everything is so fast. You kind of need to work the 13 days in one day, for fulfill. But knowing this flow, for example, initiate something, but then you need to calculate so you can, like what you need to keep that something you initiate. So then you can go with the now 3, go forward, can put like more emphasis. You're already calculated, so now you can walk forward. But then you're gonna have to stop a little bit to calculate a little bit more to make sure for when you overflow, you go like, you give an extra energy to see where things are going to end up. Then you're gonna ponder, you're gonna have that time where you go back, you ponder again, yeah, I did that, that's leading to that, that is leading to that. Okay, and then you got the conclusion, like the now 7, that's gonna be that. So then you're gonna be repeating, so we're gonna create that as a habit, like now 8, you return to have like to create a pattern of something that you're gonna be continuing. And then now on 9, you're gonna be gestating as well. It's going to be something that is always going to be gestating in the dark, that is going to be seeing the repercussion later. Now 10 is where everything is going to converge, like everything is going to, like like all the movement that you do will come back later, so you can show to the others, or you'll be crossing paths with the others, so you feel yourself in your pressure. 11, because you have to release something that you obtain a pressure. The 12, there's going to be talking about the repercussions of something that you haven't calculated, just like what we saw in now 9 or in now 2, where you calculated. That's where everything like you come like visible for you. And the 13 is also when you accumulate something, like after you keep doing the repetition, you're going to be accumulating these experiences. So that's something that helps us, to find balance, to ponder how we can proceed in what stage of this flow of life, like these pillars that we are working are, maybe our personal projects, or personal life, or personal relations. And that can help us, obtaining more balance to make more conscious decisions. And that's something that's very, very nice to observe. That makes us discern, like, okay, yeah, now you start noticing that you can already foresee when things will start to turn gray. And that's amazing. That's when you see that the calendar is helping you. Clark, yes. Thank you. It was helpful. Yes. I'm glad that I'm helping with these insights. This now reminds me of my Hopi Pueblo son, Katrina, in characteristics too. I got spring fever to play it outside in the water too. Yeah, it's very, very interesting on how this association with the novels can resemble with other stuff. Because the novels are part of life. It's not about that day itself. For example, when you talk about now Toch, for example, like 10 Toch. Now 10, it refers every time you are in a process, in a place where you converge with other people, just like when you are in an airport, is now 10. Or in a party, like a party in a community where everybody just come together for one single purpose. And now Toch talks about, for example, when you are sick, you go to the hospital, that is now Toch. but you don't need to talk about specifically about that. So the nows represents all of these areas that we interact in your lives and how they come together to play. And that's how we start seeing like how things connect. We can create this association with other stuff, which is always very interesting. How can we connect with our novel? So connecting with our novel, first, we just need to breathe consciously. We need to understand like what we would like to express. Of course, in our human experiences, we put a lot of emphasis in our linguistic expressions for us to describe the life experience. But remember, as the baby doesn't have like the language, like doesn't have the culture. It doesn't have like the other influences that can interact. It's only dreaming. It's only flowing according to what is happening. So to connect with your now is just like when you are breathe consciously, and you know like that your nature needs to go for that. It doesn't matter like what your mind tells you, because there is something like I think I haven't made a video about that yet, because there is always the influence of the novels. There is this external consciousness where we incorporate the forces of the planet that gives us this dynamics of personality. But also there is what we consider the mind, what we call the chahinel. The chahinel, we talk about like when we process this information, we try to put everything into boxes, what we are, like, or if something matches with that. So that can enter into that, but it's not ours. It's just like that, as they call, it's like an angry guardian that takes like that takes like control of you, like of all your novels to give you like the identity. So maybe you can fall for the wrong ideas. Just like when people tell, oh, you should do that, like as normal people, they try to dictate. So this angry guardian, this Chahinel, he kind of embraced that and try to control if you're doing like the most moral stuff to suit to the needs that the society imposes you. But your now is your expressions, like the way that the planets, like the forces of the planets, try to flow through you, or of what you consider you. So when you connect to the now is the moment, like when you feel, okay, I want to do this, or you don't need why that, or where or what's your now, or like what's the flow that it tends to be, or or the main phases of the nows that rules your life. That's how you can connect with it. Sometimes it's not your birth now that you need to connect. Sometimes is the mom. Sometimes it's the ruler of your TRECENA. Sometimes can be something related to your personal count that can be adding to the equation. So connect now is to knowing like what kind of forces do you have inside of you that can be more useful for you in that specific moment. Sometimes not all the nows are going to help you through all the things in your life. Sometimes you need to listen to other voices. Just like as you have many friends. And okay, I need a friend to just join me for a competition where you need to run. You're going to be inviting a friend that is good at sports, for example, to join your team for you to have more chance to succeed. You're not going to be talking about like the one that is lazy over there. So connect to the now is about you to know your full corporation, to know like how you can use like these voices inside of you to direct that. But that's all comes about, for you to to do this conscious briefly, to know what you need to do and which is the one, or maybe if you don't have that, but the idea is how you can flow with that. So you won't have, sure. It's kind of harder to explain than actually do that. But I hope it made sense to that. Oh, good info. Kamo, Tat, Jose. And I say pregnancy influences and the personality. I resonate with that. Maybe you can tell what no other calendar reader could so far. Not quite sure I get that. Um, the Maya calendar explain twins. I have a twin. We are so different in many different things. Our now wouldn't make sense to explain both of us. So now that that's interesting. That's an interesting question, because in the Maya calendar, our birth now represents the repercussion of the pregnancy conditions, like all the experiences your mother went through. Of course, there are many things that can vary. Of course, like the type of the delivery, many things can play into action. But in case of twins, we have this stuff like before the now we call the Ushlab. Ushlab is this inner spirit that the mother starts grows inside of the mother. There's going to be the fuel for the now. The twins, they share the same Ushlab, but it doesn't work like exactly in the same way. Sometimes the twins, can have different variations of the same now, because one of them, will fight. They will not get like in the same proportion. So we can say that some of them can get like a colder expression of the now, and the other one can have like a brighter connection. It always will depend also, because we need to see like the now of the mother. We need to understand many different atmospheres to understand case by case. Because the thing with the pregnancy, you can meet people that were born in the same hospital as you, like in the same room, at the exact same time, that sometimes, like the repercussions can be completely different. You can see like a different like repercussion of the same now in a person. Even in twins, they were born under the same Ushlab, but you get like maybe like the process that the part of the twin like absorbed the codes of all the experiences there's going to be repercuting in life. That's why we see so many people seeing difference, even having the same now. But in the Maya calendar, we need to pay a lot of attention with this pregnancy, because sometimes even twins can also be born with different nowels. Can happen. They have the same Ushlab, but different nowels, because of how the consciousness work. But it's always a matter of mapping what's going on during pregnancy. In pregnancy, you always be the key to explain everything on and that was one of the most fantastic stuff since I started studying, because this pregnancy studies is one of the things that is very popular from my lineage that comes from Naualá, Guatemala. So it's something specific from the lineages that comes from that area. Not only that, but also Siha, that's a town close by. So every single area in there, I know there are different lineages that can be different specializations. When I found out that about the pregnancy and everything, made so much sense for me that became my focus of study. That we can really understand this human behavior experience, which is something so beautiful. And do you have other questions? I'll just send you them. Okay, after I finish the live, I'm gonna see like what you wrote me. And yeah, it's always a beautiful path of self-discovery when we dive into the Maya calendar. And at least Maya Nindotics, yeah, at least it was for me and for some people that I have been helping during this path that I choose. What is the Mayan cross? The Mayan cross, what is known as the Mayan cross, is just like for us, is a way for us to understand like a single now in a deeper way. Remember that I mentioned that no novel makes sense on its own. Nothing can be isolated. For example, Junajpu, it doesn't make any sense. It makes sense, in a system. So in a system, we can understand, like what's the element, for example, Junajpu in the context of the TRECENA of the Junajpu pathfinder. You can understand a little bit looking at the TRECENA. But Mayan Cross Mayan Cross is not the way that we actually use. We call it Choboh. That means the council of the novels. It's like with all many novels, come together to give sense to that particular one. You're going to be talking about the repercussion. Why Junajpu is Junajpu? It's going to be the sum of 8 more novels that will make sense for Junajpu being Junajpu. It's just like you take like a loop to look at the novel to see in a bigger way what were the elements that compose that single element. That's why we call the chobo, the council of the novels. And that we use mostly for analyzing dreams, to understand like what kind of path the dreams are walking, what type of dreams we are having, because not all the dreams that you have sense. The Chobo will explain like why the novel sends you that message, what is trying to communicate to you. Like we explain what started before that that now had to intervene, to warn you something that can develop in a certain way. So the Chobo, what is called the Mayan cross, actually came from is more like European, like the colonization, because of the Catholics talks about the cross. So that's why it was popularized as the Mayan cross. But in Maya, it doesn't make sense about calling the cross. We call about this Chobo, this team of novels that make one single novel make sense, like they give sense to the novel. And also is the count that you use to understand pregnancy in a deeper way, the interaction between the mother and the partner, whether it's the father or it's a new boyfriend or it's the mom that acts as a masculine figure for the mother. That's how we use to, it's accounting that we use to understand. But it's not something like that for your daily basis will add you to something. It's more like into consultations that will make more sense to understand that. But it's practically like it's more for dreams, I would say. And more questions? Now this been like almost 2 hours of life. Well, you're a great teacher, thanks. Oh, I appreciate that. I enjoy knowing that what I've been teaching here, like is making sense and helping you somehow. This small effort that I'm doing, like it's making sense for you. I'm happy to hear that. And do you have any more questions before we close? Do you have a Patreon? Your work here is beautiful, and I don't know if you are being compensated enough for your work you've been putting. Oh, Alana, I don't have a Patreon, but I'm more than happy, just to exchange something. Maybe you can reach me for something in my website, something that can help you in the path. And if you feel like collabing, I appreciate a lot. And I'm just happy to be helpful in here and to deliver good information. But I'll read your DM. I really, really appreciate that, your words. Makes me happy. More questions? If not, we can close the live. All right then, guys. So it was a pleasure. Thank you for staying by my side for these 2 hours in here. I'm wishing you all a great TRECENA ahead, and I see you all in our next TRECENA analysis or any other live that comes in a way. Thank you again, and see you all soon.